2016. Okay, this is Jeff Manville, first selectman of the board of Southbury. We're going to start this with, bear with us, the streaming stopped. Are we streaming now? Okay, thank you. So Lisa Lowe, we'll give this, we'll take this public hearing. Lisa, could you go ahead?
Thank you, Jeff. Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa Lowe, and I'm the Small Cities Grant Administrator for the town of Southbury. We're holding this public hearing for the 2016 Small Cities Housing Rehabilitation Grant, as it is a requirement to hold 2 public hearings for an awarded grant. This is our second public hearing for the 2016 grant. The purpose of the Small Cities Housing Rehab Grant is to make health and safety improvements to the homes of qualified low and moderate income Southbury residents through 0% interest indefinitely deferred loans. To qualify for a loan, residents must have a household income no higher than $52,850 for a one-person household, or for a 4-person household, $75,500. You must also have 10% equity in your home and be up to date on local taxes. During the 2016 award, the town of Southbury conducted 28 housing rehabilitation projects for qualified Southbury residents. Projects included roof replacements, heating system replacements, septic repairs, ADA modifications, window and door replacements, siding replacements, energy efficiency improvements, code compliance improvements, electrical and plumbing upgrades, fire safety improvements, such as smoke and CO detectors, and GFI installations. When funds are available, this is a continuously running revolving loan program available in the town. If you are interested in applying to the program for assistance and being put on the waiting list, please contact the First Selectmen's office at 501 Main Street South, 203-262-0647, and request an application. And if you have questions about the grant or the program, please send that question to Noreen Thompson in the First Selectmen's office at 501 Main Street South, Southbury, Connecticut, 06488, or call 203-262-0647. All questions will be forwarded to the Small Cities Program Consultant for response.
Hello?
Oh, we'll open it up to any questions from the board. Please state your name and I'll recognize you. Are there any questions of Lisa Lowe? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Okay, thank you. I will now call the Southbury Board of Selectmen regular meeting April 2nd, 2020 to order at 7:04 p.m. Can we have the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
United States of America,
and to
to
the
the
republic
republic
for which it stands,
which stands
one nation,
one
under
nation,
God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
liberty
justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
Okay, I would like to first have a vote to add to the agenda the circuit breaker under new business, the circuit breaker resolution. Can I have a motion on that?
Jason Bucksbaum, so moved.
Thank you, Jason. Could I have a second?
Mike Rosen, I'll second.
Lowe.
Can I?
Is now exiting.
Oh, Mike Rosen, I'll second.
Thank you, Mike. Any discussion? All in favor, and we'll add it. Oh, say aye. Well, I'll do a roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
I think we should need some correspondence in front of you. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
This is George Bertram. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Can I have a second on that?
Jason Bucksbaum, second.
Thank you, Jason. Any discussion on the consent agenda?
Jason Bucksbaum.
Go ahead, Jason.
Can you just discuss the hiring process for the new land use administrator?
You want to discuss that?
No, I was just asking you to describe it. You know how went on the applications we got, how we handled it during this time period, and just who was involved, stuff like that.
Our HR people, or the HR person here was part of that. I was part of that. There was a committee a group that it was Hugh Sullivan, George Bertram, Don Antilla, and Jeff Tinley were in on the original committee to make a recommendation. And then I interviewed the final candidates, and we also interviewed with our HR people.
It was a pretty exhaustive process on the initial interviews. They were all close to an hour long. I think we had 4 people initially interviewed out of about 6 or 7 resumes that came in. And there were some fairly highly qualified people in that group. It was well represented.
Any other
Sorry,
questions?
it's George Burke. I didn't announce myself. I forget to do that.
That's okay. Jason, any other question?
Not for me, it's Jason.
Okay. Any other selectmen? I'll call the vote on the consent agenda. George Bertram,
Aye.
Jason Bucksbaum,
Aye.
Emily Harrison,
Aye.
Mike Rosen,
Aye.
Justin Betty.
Aye.
First selectman will vote in the affirmative also. It passes. Thank you. Under bids for the chip sealing. Do I have a motion?
George Bertram, I'll make a motion to approve the bids as submitted.
Emily Harrison, second.
The motion is made and seconded. Do we have a discussion on the resolution? Can you put the resolution up? The chip sealing?
E1.
There we go. This is the same people who have been doing the chip sealing for the town for years. They were low bid. Any other discussion?
Jeff, it's George. The
Go
only
ahead.
comment I would have is when they did my road, they put too many chips down. And it wasn't until recently when the town came through to sweep the road that they got the extra chips off of it. Why that happened, I don't know. It just struck me as odd.
It's a
I
tough
haven't
process.
seen that on other roads.
Yeah, it's a tough process, but that's chip sealing.
Yeah, I've seen other roads though, and they didn't have that extra loose chips floating around for so long. So I don't know what they did. Maybe they can fine tune their process. Just a comment based on quality control issues.
Okay, are we doing the budget here? Hold on, we're having something. Are we? Okay, I'd have no. All right, we're having a little thing here. That just don't worry. Okay, I will call the vote on the resolution on the chip sealing. George Bertram,
Aye.
Jason Bucksbaum,
Aye.
Emily Harrison,
Aye.
Justin Betty,
Aye.
and Mike Rosen.
Aye.
Thank you. minutes of March 15th, 2020 and March 19th, 2020. The emergency meeting was March 15th, the regular meeting on the 19th. Do I have a motion to approve?
Mike Rosen.
Mike Rosen made the motion. Do I have a second?
Motion to approve.
Who's the second? Mike Rosen made the motion. Do I have a second?
George
Jason
Bertram,
Bertram,
second.
I'm going to call George Bertram for the second. Any discussion on the minutes?
in there.
Any discussion on the minutes? Not hearing any. I'll call the vote. George Bertram,
Aye.
Jason Bucksbaum,
Aye.
Emily Harrison,
Aye.
Justin Betty,
Aye.
Mike Rosen,
Aye.
and the first selectman will vote in the affirmative, and it passes. Okay, under new business. This is the budget calendar. As we know, we're into a COVID and situation crisis, and we need to pass a budget. Betsy, can the camera go towards the? I just want to swing. There we go. Betsy's got the camera. Yep. And I know the board is seeing it, but I want to make sure the public can see this for those who are watching. This is to authorize the Board of Finance to adopt the budget for the July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021 fiscal year. Do I have a motion?
Jeff, it's Jason. Before we make a motion, can you put it on our screen? What's up on whatever screen is there?
Oh,
Yes, I
that's
can't
okay.
see it
Betsy
either.
thought
Yeah.
maybe you could see it, so bear with us.
Nope.
Thank you. Can you see it now, Jason?
Yep.
Can all the selectmen? Okay,
Is this what was emailed to us this afternoon?
that's correct.
Thank you.
Can I have a motion?
Justin Betty will make a motion.
Thank you, Justin. Can I have a second on the motion?
Jason Bucksbaum, second.
Thank you, Jason. I'll open it up for discussion on the motion, the resolution. Let me know your name and I'll recognize you. Hearing none, I'll call the vote.
Jeff, this is
Okay.
Emily.
Emily Harrison, go ahead.
I understand. I think this is what we're talking about now. I understand the need for the Board of Finance to make this executive decision. I just think that we have to find some way to get some sort of a public input on this. I mean, I look at this and, so many of us love the country we live in. We love the democracy and that part of it. And I just feel like that's getting lost with this executive order. I understand that these are unprecedented times and therefore, sometimes unprecedented measures have to come into place. But I feel like we've got to do something as a board to at least have the public's voice entertained as a part of this process and think of outside the box ways in order to incorporate that.
Okay, if you look on Executive Order 7I, number 13, and the governor's order says the Board of Selectmen shall authorize the budget-making authority within said municipality to adopt a budget for the July 1st, 2020, June 30th, 2021 fiscal year, and to set a mill rate sufficient. And it's saying that we shall. It's not a may or we could. It's a shall. If you look at, is it up on the screen there?
It is. Mike Rosen.
Jason,
Jeff, Mike Rosen.
Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
Thanks. So I agree with Emily. I understand the rationale for this, and I think we do have to to move forward with this and empower them. But I think it is important that we continue to have discussions about better ways to have two-way conversations with citizens of the town, including but not limited to the potential of doing budget referendums and other townwide votes via mail, even if it incurs some cost to the town to do so. I think protecting democracy is critically important in a time like this. Having voices heard is critically important. And right now, I think we're doing the best we can, but I think that we need to get more creative in terms of figuring out better ways to engage the public in some of these townwide conversations and townwide decisions that have long-term impacts. So I agree with Emily on this front. I want us to make sure that while I do think this is a procedural matter, I think we need to really have more significant conversations. It doesn't need to be tonight about how we can be more creative in better engaging the town's voice and giving them a real voice and even a vote, if possible, in the town budget and some other townwide issues. Thank you.
This is
Jason,
Emily. Oh, go ahead, Jason.
Hold on.
You sure?
Okay, who wants to speak next?
Jason Buxbaum.
Go ahead, Jason.
So I'll echo what Emily and Mike have said. I think it's very important, especially during a time of crisis, that our elected officials really bend over backwards to try to protect and ensure the democratic process as much as possible. And I've had these discussions with some folks around the table over the last week or so, and I really think that we do need some sort of an ability when we're having public meetings to be able to have and receive in real time input from our constituents. Other towns are doing it. Region 15 is doing it. And we also need to find a way for the public to be able to access our meetings, not just virtually, but also with a dial-in number or something like that, so that we reach our senior population or those that may not be as technologically involved. And I think we need to do everything we can during this time to engage our public. It's a strange time, and the governor has made this mandatory. There was some discussion about that when this executive order came out, and it's clear that it's mandatory. And the reason it's mandatory is to pretty much to take political pressure off the people in our position, so people can't criticize us for not going to referendum. Which is why the governor has said you have to pass a budget this way. But the minimum requirement of having an email for comments is just that, a minimum requirement, and I really believe that we should be doing much more. Also, what the governor also did was he extended the budgetary deadlines by 30 days. Under our charter, the Board of Finance has to approve the budget by April 15th. And that's the current calendar that I believe the town is still working under. But the governor is permitting the town to extend that to May 15th. And I'm curious if we've talked about that at all as it relates to the budget as a mechanism of being able to incorporate more viewpoints and more positions. And the last thing I'm going to mention, which I think is probably a little bit of an elephant in the room, and I want to make sure that people understand when we pass this about the budget, it doesn't impact the other thing, and that's the whole Edgewood discussion.
We can discuss the Edgewood. We can discuss that at a later point. Let's get through this.
Well, it's currently being discussed as being put in the budget, so I just want to make clear that my vote to allow the Board of Finance to set the budget and put anything in there that the Board of Finance deems necessary is not in agreement that the Board of Selectmen would not engage in further processes concerning that topic regarding the purchase of Edgewood.
Yes, we understand that. Okay, anybody else? We are, just for the record, we are working on some other ways to get people more engaged, and our IT department is working on that. Okay, I'll call the vote.
Wait, this is Emily. Just a few things to say. Sorry. I think that kind of just circling all back around, right, and just maybe echoing a lot of what's already been said, but I think at this time when we're talking about taxes and people's checkbooks, especially in this point in time, it's imperative to have a voice for the citizens. I know that we don't legally have to have a vote, and when we talk about things, I know, Mike, you mentioned having a vote. Perhaps some of the resolutions or really solutions that we come up with maybe mimic that or echo it in a way, but we know that they're not by law a legal vote or how it traditionally would be done. But there's 6 very intelligent people sitting around this table as far as the board goes. I know the Board of Finance is the same way, and I feel like we can come up with some sort of creative solution in order to incorporate how people feel, take some sort of a measurement of their reactions towards this, and take that into account as we authorize the Board of Finance to make this decision.
Okay, I'll call
Mike
the vote.
Rosen? Wait,
I'm sorry.
one more
who's
thing,
the-
Jeff. Mike Rosen.
Mike Rosen, go ahead.
Thanks. Sorry. So yeah, just and I don't want to go too much further, but I agree with Emily. I think also to Jason's point, so we have time to come up with some of those creative solutions, we should take advantage of the full allotment of extra time that the governor has given towns, municipalities, not only ours, but all municipalities in this matter. So if we have till May 15th, we should there's no reason not to use as much of that time as we need to ensure that the voice of our citizens are fully heard to the best of our ability. So thank you.
Emily Harrison. I think the only thing that we've got to consider within that extension is how that impacts finances as far as the town is concerned. So I will leave that judgment up to the Board of Finance, and just wanted to make that kind of comment for consideration from the rest of the board as well.
Anything else? I'll call the vote. George Bertram,
Aye.
Jason Bucksbaum,
Aye.
Emily Harrison,
Aye.
Justin Betty,
Aye.
Mike Rosen,
Aye.
and the first selectman will vote in the affirmative, and the resolution passes. Okay. Under new business, vote to add, we voted to add to under new business number H number 2. There's a resolution on. We're looking at. There's 2 resolutions on the tax relief deadline. We can pass one or the other. I know the state has passed so that the state portion of the Circuit Breaker Plus, the people do not have to reapply this year. They're automatically enrolled. New people, if they want to, can enroll if they're new to the program, but the existing will not have to come in and apply during this time. I would recommend the second, suspension of reapplication filing requirements for the homeowners elderly disabled circuit breaker tax relief program, and for the homeowners and elderly. This is the additional tax relief program that the town gives to. We don't have to. You have to do them both.
Jason Bucksbaum.
Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, Jeff, so two items were sent to us. We only added the circuit breaker to the agenda. I'm not sure the other one's right for tonight, but I think we should add it to the agenda. So I'd like to make a motion to add to the agenda the topic regarding the municipal tax relief program set forth in the governor's most recent executive order.
Thank you, Jason. Can I have a second?
Mike Rosen, second.
Mike Rosen has seconded it. Any discussion on adding it? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. George Bertram,
Aye.
Jason Bucksbaum,
Aye.
Emily Harrison,
Aye.
Justin Betty,
Jeff, in regards to the landlord issue, I am going to recuse myself as I am a landlord in this town, and I don't like the way that looks.
okay, Mike Rosen,
Aye.
and the first selectman will vote in the affirmative also, so it passes. I'd just like to say, Justin, I think it. I
I
still
should
would
have
like.
said abstain, excuse me.
Okay, sorry, Justin. Justin, I still would like to hear your input on that, as if you feel
I'd be happy to.
comfortable on that.
Speak to it.
And I don't think we have
Yeah,
to.
I mean,
Jason, sorry, Justin. Just I do not believe we have to pass this tonight, if because it just came in, so we have some time with it. But I just want to get it onto the discussion part. Justin, please go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, obviously you see on the news that, tenants are reaching out to their landlords. They're looking for forbearance. They're looking for some help because, their income got torn away unexpectedly, and very quickly in many cases. So there are programs from many of the lenders. One of the things you'll hear about in my report about EDC is all the different programs that our local banks are offering folks in regards to deferring their mortgage payments. So this is a natural add-on to that, and I think one of the entities or groups of entities that it will help are those very banks, which won't be taking in the escrow money to pay these bills. So it's a way of cascading this thing appropriately, so that there isn't a liquidity issue with some of our country's largest lenders. I know personally, the real estate market's really dropped off a cliff, and we don't know exactly when it's going to get restarted. But I know I would hold out until the very last time to take advantage of anything like this. I don't like deferring payments on anything, frankly, personally. That's me.
Okay. Jason, do you have anything on this?
Yeah, so the governor's most recent executive order, which came out, I guess, the night before last, has two things that municipalities have. Well, one thing that municipalities have to do no later than April 25th, I think it is. And that's the one we just added to the agenda. We need to decide, I'm just scrolling through the executive order. The state has set up two programs, the deferment program and the low interest rate program. We need to decide in the municipality which program we're going to agree to, or both. But we have until April 25th. So I think we should be talking to our tax collector and tax assessor and get input and decide how we want to implement it. I think the DCD just issued guidelines on these programs today, which I haven't looked at yet. So that's just my thought on those. I'm not sure any of us are in a position, unless you have a recommendation, Jeff, to decide what to do with that one yet. And we do have another meeting that we can handle that. On the circuit breaker one, I agree that so the governor's waived the reapplication deadline for the state program. So we just want to mirror that. And I have no idea what the timing is in Southbury when those reapplications occur, whether we have a timing issue if we don't do it tonight. Can't hear Cindy.
We
You
can't hear
got
you.
to turn it on.
Sorry. I talked to Mike today. The applications are due April 15th. And that's why, this, as you know, Jason, this came out very rapidly. And when we digested it, thought that we should probably handle it.
On the circuit breaker side, it's Jason.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So if the application is the 15th, then I agree. We should pass that tonight. But do you agree that we should wait on the other ones till we have input, or do you guys have enough input already from our tax folks?
We do not. So the thought was
Okay.
to digest as much of this as we possibly could to be able to at least put it on the agenda tonight. Just so, two reasons. One, to give you a chance to begin to think about it. And the second is to make sure that we don't forget we need to do it. But the other one, what it does is it actually mirrors the IRS deadlines, so April 15th, and now, of course, the state's waiving it.
So I think I would be comfortable passing the the suspension of reapplication filing deadline.
This is Emily. Is it possible to get what we're talking about up on the screen for everyone?
I'm sorry, we didn't know. Can you see it now?
Yes.
It was
Thank
in-
you, Betsy.
It was in the packet. Okay. The suspension of reapplication filing requirement for the homeowner's elderly disabled circuit breaker tax relief program and for the homeowners. This would be a mirroring on the town's match side. And we have and Cindy, go ahead.
If you can see the screen, oh, that's weird. Earlier today, there's a little bit more to it.
But Cindy, we have a April 15th deadline on that, which is when so my concern is that we want to put this out that I don't want, I really, not looking to get everybody to come out to town hall to get their applications on. I think we want to get it out there that they do not need to come in, that they will be extended.
Jason Bucksbaum.
Go ahead, Jason. Thank you.
I make a motion that with respect to our local circuit breaker program, we mirror the requirements of the state program set forth in the governor's executive order 7S.
Emily Harrison, second.
Made and seconded. Thank you both. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. George Bertram,
Aye.
Jason Bucksbaum,
Aye.
Emily Harrison,
Aye.
Justin Betty,
I'll vote aye on the circuit breaker one, definitely.
okay, and Mike Rosen.
Aye.
And the first selectman votes in the affirmative also. So that passes. We'll get the information on the other one and talk with our tax assessor and the tax collector, and we'll bring that back at the next meeting. All right? Okay. First selectman's report. I just want to number one, I just want to clarify something. We're talking about the Edgewood. I am working with the town clerk. I've been down talking with her. We have to exercise the option July 31st. With that being said, we have time, and God willing, we'll be out of this crisis in time to have a referendum. So I'm looking at the possibility, bear with me, of how late it would look to possibly schedule a referendum and also have the time to transact if that's what is decided to do. So we have July 31st is the drop dead date to execute. I do not want to, if we are going to, I don't want to be pushed into trying to put that together that week. There's Board of Selectmen meeting in July. I don't believe the second. Bear with me. It's been a heck of a day. So we will be looking for that referendum. Bear with me. Right. So there's a possibility of the presidential primary coming in if we can be on that. I will work on dates. I'm looking at the calendar, and I apologize that I don't have it in front of me when I came in. July 31st, back that up to if we had the referendum at the end of June, possibly. July 9th was a date we were also looking at. July 9th is a Thursday, and that would give us, I think there's a board meeting on the 16th, and then we will have a referendum. So if we can get this together, we should be able to get this together. The only question is going to be, will the governor lift the, will we be out of this crisis by that time to be able to go to a referendum? So we'll work towards that on the Edgewood, that we will try and get a referendum with from the people of the town. Right now, what we're doing is holding informational meetings. We're trying to get this, what I would say, primary information out to the public through the presentations, through the documents, and all the facts that we have in front of us. And we still need to go. As the public listens, the first selectman himself cannot authorize and sign the exercise the option. It has to be voted on by the Board of Selectmen to authorize me to sign the option and carry it out. So we will try to get the referendum. Hopefully we're past this in June and we can get that referendum done, and that's what we'll work towards. Any questions on that?
Jason Buxbaum.
Go ahead, Jason.
I would just suggest that we be flexible and fluid with the timing. The referendum, if we're going to have a referendum on this, once it's approved at referendum, we literally only need a 10-minute Board of Selectmen meeting to approve signing the option, because
Yes.
the closing doesn't take place until 120 days later. So that referendum, depending on how this crisis evolves, can be a moving target at this point. And we can put that out as late in July as possible if circumstances change, which I think we all hope they change, as soon as possible. So I'm just mentioning that for consideration. And the other thing I'll mention is, based on that, then it sounds like my concern, Jeff, as you know, that I raised to you the other day, was that the literature that currently appears on the town website says that the Board of Selectmen is going to be voting on this option on April 13th. And I would just ask that literature be changed to reflect that we're not going to be acting at that time.
Yeah, I'll put that out. I'll get that to the committee and get that updated. I just hope that people understand that there's been a lot of a quick movement as far as with the COVID crisis and everything else going on, that from time to time that's going to words are changed. It's not going to be voted on at that meeting to exercise the option. That's clearly not the intention. It was never the intention, and I think that's pretty clear. On the flexibility, the only thing we have about the flexibility is, according to the town clerk, we need like 3 weeks in order to get the absentee ballots printed and get them out for the people. So our 3 weeks prior to the referendum is when we need is the when it gets really boiled down and critical. So we have to get the absentee ballots. So we'll work with that, and we're not going to run out and vote at the next. I frankly forget what day that was. It's been a lot of dates. Anybody else want to say anything about that?
George Bertram,
Yes, George.
I just want to make sure that we all agree, or at least I will say that I think we should all agree that public safety should not be compromised in the effort to hold a referendum. Totally agree that referendum would be a very, very desirable outcome here. But if it means taking risks of people getting this virus by coming into contact with people in any way, then I'm going to be very reluctant to support it. I believe that lives are important, and I don't want to take any unnecessary risks. I've looked at a lot of models as part of the EOC team, if you will, and it's very unclear as to when this thing is going to be gone from here. Some of the models show it's the end of June. It's kind of petering out. Others show it going on longer. It's very unclear right now, but I also agree that we don't need to make the decision in any kind of rush. We have plenty of time to do it. So those are just my thoughts.
It will be up to when the governor lifts the orders, and at this point I'm sure the Board of Selectmen understand, but I believe the people need to understand is that we are on orders not to have a referendum. His orders clearly state that. So, but if we can get them, if they're lifted and we're through the crisis and it's safe to do, we certainly will do everything in our power to put this to referendum. I do not believe there's one Board of Selectmen member of the six of us who want to do anything other than a referendum. That's it. We wanted to schedule it for the regular budget vote. We were trying to get the information out ahead so that people could make an informed decision. We wanted to be putting it on the referendum for the budget, so it was a questions, and because we didn't want to try not to go through another referendum, which costs money. So we're probably not going to be able to do a referendum on the budget, only because of the governor's orders. So if we can still do a referendum, and clearly I think all six of us recognize that we want to do a referendum. Okay. If there's anything else on that one, okay. I just want to put out. I have another little more information. As you know, the United States is currently dealing with a corona pandemic. This coronavirus originated in Wuhan, China, and has rapidly spread across the globe. As of today, we currently have 3,557 confirmed cases, along with 85 deaths in the state of Connecticut. In the town of Southbury, the number currently stands at 14 confirmed cases and 1 death. The number changes daily and sometimes hourly. Our acting emergency management director, Scott Furr, has been monitoring this outbreak since late January. On January 30th, we opened up the EOC, brought relevant parties together such as the Pomperaug District Department of Health, Region 15, and the town for an update brief. No other local towns were looking this far ahead. This foresight allowed us to create linkage and enhance channels of communication that we are utilizing today. At his recommendation and my authority, the EOC was activated and opened for daily operations on March 16th. One of the goals at this time was to anticipate any actions in the future. Currently, we are providing daily EOC update briefings, attending meetings, and coordinating of events with state-level emergency management agencies and other local agencies such as Pomperaug District Department of Health. To date, we have participated in over 56 meetings and/or planning sessions within our local EOC with our interagency partners. We are overseeing and providing support for the Southbury Grocery Brigade. We are participating in daily coordination calls with our local health department. We have listened to the citizens' input and redesigned the website to present information in a more concise fashion. We are working with our Region 5 DEMAS and other state partners to streamline the requesting and distribution process for any personal protective equipment orders that are filled through the National Incident Management System. Through our Economic Development Department, we are providing our local businesses updated information from federal, state, and local levels. We are looking ahead and planning with our regional partners for any anticipated mutual aid if and when it becomes necessary. We are streamlining our communication processes. Today, we are rolling out a telephone number with a recorded message that will be accessible tomorrow, Friday, 24/7, 365. The update schedule is flexible, and we are going to begin with 2 updates a week on Monday and Thursday. Our first message was made today. You can call 475 207 5501 to access the message. Again, the number is 475 207 5501. The EOC is specifically designed to source requirements, provide information, and advance planning during crisis events. The EOC acts as a critical part of the town's ability to provide resources and information during a crisis. The EOC channels this information to town leadership so they can, in turn, provide you, the citizen, the most important information and provide you with the valuable services that you require. To date, they have worked with the town IT department in order to update the webpage and provide you with the most up-to-date information as possible. They continue to improve the messaging based in no small part by the suggestions put forth by you, the citizens. They have been working with police, fire, and EMS workers to ensure that they have an adequate supply in order to both serve you, the citizens of Southbury, while remaining safe and healthy. They are working on future planning efforts within the region and the state in order to better predict town requirements and plan for them so that we may be prepared when the need arises. Lastly, they provide me with the most accurate and current information that I may relay to you, helping you address as many of your concerns as possible. I want to assure you we are working tirelessly on your behalf through this crisis. While every action may not always be correct, we will always strive to do our best for you and to be as transparent as possible. I'm certain that we will get through this difficult time and will be stronger on the other side. The next thing I'd like to let everybody know, on a better note, is the roofing on the town hall is going very well. It's actually almost finished, the whole new roof. It's been working very well. I also want to say, I want to put this out. The Grocery Brigade has been doing very well. They were pretty overwhelmed. They got a lot of orders, and they're taking steps to streamline and make things more efficient as they learn as they go. So hopefully that will continue to improve and give that service. It's been extremely well received by the seniors and has had a huge effect protecting our seniors. And I want to truly thank Tamith Rossi for her efforts to get this going and what it took to drive it and get it up so quickly and get it rolled out. So I really want to thank Tamith Rossi for that. Can we have reports from liaisons? Selectman Bertram?
Jeff, I just wanted to mention that your microphone was fading out similarly to how it was fading out last night.
Okay.
The more you talked, the more underwater you sounded.
We're working on it. We're working on it. Ray's coming up with a solution with some people that hopefully will work.
Okay, so road study, nothing to report. IT committee also been sidelined with everything. Police radio has had some meetings. I haven't been involved with them, and I can't really give you an update because I don't know exactly what they're doing, but they are working on things. And I believe they have some quotes coming in for two different options. One being the Norcom version of the state police trunk system, and the other being a quote on an upgrade of what we currently have, which isn't tied into the state police system at all. But I won't say anything more because I don't have good details. Cell mobile, really not much going on there. Strategic plan, same thing. We kind of put that on hold for now. Pool committee, a lot going on. We had a 2.5-hour meeting last night. It was a public informational presentation. I don't know how well it went. It seemed to be well received. I mean, I was mostly involved with it, so I'll leave it up to other people to tell me if it was a good presentation or a not so good one. Today we've received nearly 100 feedback. I don't know what you want to call them, the things you fill out on the website that people send in, whatever they're called. We got nearly 100 of them, maybe like in the mid 90s right now. The majority have been positive, thumbs up type things. And we'll distribute those later on. We'll have to gather them together, maybe sort them into groups, and then some of them include questions, so we have to answer those questions. So the team is busily putting together a response to each one. We're trying to answer all questions, not just frequently asked ones. So that's kind of where we're at. Thanks.
Selectman Betty?
IPOC has not met since our last meeting. Senior Commission has not met, but I'm sure you're all aware of the, yeoman's work that Tamith and other volunteers and staff are doing in regards to the grocery brigade. On economic development, I think Kevin's doing a really great job about getting information out to our business community about programs that are available to businesses, both large and small, to help blunt the effects of the coronavirus. Obviously, if you track the news, unemployment doubled again to 6 million in the past week, doubling last week's historic number. And that was before Florida sort of closed their doors up. So next week will be likely another new benchmark, an unfortunately large benchmark. So anyway, I think, a lot of what he put out there is not just state level, but federal programs. And I'm sure it's going to be helpful information for employers and employees in our community.
Selectman Bucksbaum?
No historic meetings. Most of my time has been focused on the LEPC aspect, which has been discussed already by Jeff, all the work that's going on. I participated. I can attest to all those meetings because I participated in a lot of them. Sometimes there's a couple of calls a day. So that's ongoing, but I'll just echo what's been said about the Tamith and the grocery brigade. And, that's sort of like one of the success stories right now for our town. And what's going on. We do have a large senior population, and we need to be mindful of that and do everything we can to help that at-risk segment of our town. And this effort helps that. One of the things that you've probably seen put out on social media and whatnot is they're looking for more volunteers for that effort. So I'd ask people to spread that and, try and gather up more people. So, as the operation grows. Thanks.
Jason, just one quick thing on that. The volunteers need to be less than 60 years old.
Right.
They cannot be older than 60, and that is hurting the volume of volunteers, unfortunately.
That's sort of the issue with the main group of volunteers assisting the effort is the Knights of Columbus, and the 60 cutoff, sort of limits the numbers. So that's why requests have started going out, but hopefully there's a good response.
Yeah, Jason, it's Mike Rosen.
Go ahead, Mike.
And I was in touch after the daily OC call earlier in the week that I was on. I reached out to a bunch of the leads of the local nonprofits to make sure they understood that in addition to the statewide volunteer effort, we were in this period where we're looking for some folks to supplement the Knights of Columbus folks who have been volunteering for the grocery brigade. I actually just got an email. I know that Southbury Women's Club has stepped in, and some of their members, are signed up to start shopping tomorrow and over the weekend. So. And I think Justin has signed up to shop. I'm planning to sign up to shop over the weekend if I can as well. So
I
This is
did
Emily.
get
I'm
vetted
signed
on
up
the
to shop.
website.
Oh,
that's great.
anybody
That's
else
great,
like to
everybody.
speak?
That's Justin. I would just
Go ahead,
say
Justin.
that the process to get vetted on the website is really easy. It takes maybe 5 minutes. I did it on my phone actually, so very simple to get involved.
And I just want to say it's not really invasive. It's just to make sure we want to protect our seniors. It's not a big deal. It's not. They don't need to know where you went to kindergarten. It's okay. But that's taken a little bit of time to catch up that list that we get vetted and the people. I think by Monday or Tuesday. I think Monday, Tamith said that we may have that in place. But there's been people that have stepped up. I know my wife went shopping this morning. So people have stepped up and we're going to move it along. Emily, do you have something?
I was just adding in that I was also signed up to shop this weekend. But as far as my liaison reports, EMS committee was canceled, and the library will be canceled for this month as well. That was supposed to be next week. So no updates from me.
Okay. Mike Rosen?
Yep, I'm just making sure I'm not muted. I'm not. Okay. Parks and Rec has not met. Planning had a special meeting on the 25th on one topic where they voted to agree to hire counsel in the suit, and that was the only thing they talked about. And then the Region 15 has continued to have. They had their public hearing on the budget on the 25th. That included the Board of Finance. The minutes of that meeting are on the Region 15 website for those who want to read it. That include the Q&A that went back and forth with both the Board of Ed members who had questions as well as the Board of Finance that had questions. So the Q&A is included in the minutes, so it's really worth reviewing if you didn't get to see it. And on April 6th, there is another Board of Ed Region 15 budget workshop that will be live streamed on the 6th at 7:30 p.m. Visit the region15.org website for the link to view the live stream. That's it.
Is there someone else? I thought I heard somebody speak up.
Jeff, it's George.
Go ahead, George.
Can I make a comment a little out of order here? I've been engaging some people in discussions regarding the production of face masks. And I don't know where that's going to go. There's a lot of people interested in doing it. There's a lot of women out there who are very skilled at sewing that have some fairly high-end equipment that are willing to volunteer their time, and some of them are currently volunteering much of their time to produce face masks for local emergency services and hospitals. I would like to try to engage in some kind of program to provide masks for people in town if they want them. There's more and more evidence coming out that masks will help. Yes.
Yes, you certainly, if you want to get a grassroots effort to get that done, you go ahead.
Well, I'm just mentioning that I'm working on it, and I may come back to the board for some help on it at some point. I'll try not to bother the EOC since obviously they're not interested at this point in participating, or not able to, I should say. I shouldn't say not interested. But I just want to make a point that I think this is important, and I'm going to keep working on it, and I'll keep you posted on what I'm doing, if anything. If anything happens,
okay,
I'll let you know.
Mike Rosen?
Mike, go ahead.
Thanks, Jeff. George, to that point, I know I saw a story today that the federal government is considering making some recommendations that all Americans begin wearing some kind of face covering. The story I read talked about it even would include suggesting wearing non-medical masks, T-shirts, bandanas, and that to ensure also that medical grade masks, particularly the N95 masks, are reserved for those dealing directly with the sick, for our frontline healthcare workers and first responders, et cetera. So I certainly I think that's I don't know if that's going to be a formal recommendation for sure that's coming down, but clearly there's a lot of talk about that, going on. So.
I think we'll let that with our public health department, our Department
Yep,
of Public Health,
exactly right.
and
That's what
our
I follow.
EOC people. All right.
Yep.
Is there more? I thought I heard more. Okay. Under any other business, I know there was some talk about wanting to discuss pool options or the pool. I personally think we just started. I think we cleared up the idea of what if we're going to do this going to a referendum. I think it's been explained already on that side. I think there's a lot more information that will be coming with the next with the comments coming in and the questions coming in, and another meeting that is coming up for informational. So I don't know if this is a time when the board wants to talk about much of this. Frankly, I don't think I have quite enough information for that right now. But I'll open it up if anybody wants to discuss it. Something on the with the pool options.
Mike Rosen.
Mike, go ahead.
Thank you, Jeff, for that opportunity. And I know we had emailed earlier today. Based on today's discussion. I don't think we need to have a conversation about it now, but I'm looking forward to having continued conversations at our upcoming meetings. As we look to making sure that the voice of our people are heard and that we engage as best as possible in the current situation. So thanks.
Okay. We're digesting a lot of information that's been put out. The pool committee, that ad hoc committee, has worked tirelessly to get this put together, and I can assure people that it was not held back. As soon as the presentation was ready, and the information collected, it was put out. I don't think but they've been working, especially with this COVID and everything else that's going on. They've been keeping up with it. Is there anybody else?
Jason Buxbaum.
Go ahead, Jason.
So there'll be other opportunities to get into more detail. I'll just I'll say I thought the presentation last night was good and answered a lot of questions. Your comments earlier, Jeff, about a commitment to try and get this to referendum eases the various concerns I had. So I'm hopeful that this will pass and we'll be able to do that. The one question last night that I don't think was answered fully yet, and it is a question that I think we do need sort of an answer to, is whether the town is going to ask for an extension of the option, and if not, why not? Because that would play into some of the timing issues if this doesn't pass by June. So that would just be a question that doesn't necessarily need to be answered right now, but it was asked last night, and I think the answer that was given was we would love to get an extension, and there were reasons given why we didn't think the property owner would give us one, but there wasn't an answer as to whether or not we were actually going to ask.
Yes, and we're working on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. And okay, anybody else?
This is Emily.
Go ahead, Emily.
This is not related to Edgewood, but I didn't know with how much things are changing and how rapidly things are changing. I know we initially changed the schedule of our meetings this month based on spring break. Should we give any consideration to moving our meeting back up to the 16th instead of being on the 23rd?
It's already a scheduled meeting, so we can have a special meeting, but we cannot change the regular meeting. So we can schedule a special meeting at a different date, but then you can only discuss what's on that meeting, on the agenda. And then you could cancel the regularly scheduled meeting. So we might as well stay to the regular schedule. And if we need a special meeting, I certainly will call a special meeting if we need to, or an emergency meeting.
Okay.
All right? Anybody else? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. George Bertram here.
Do I have a second?
Emily Harrison, second.
I'll call the vote. George Bertram,
Aye.
Jason Bucksbaum,
Aye.
Emily Harrison,
Aye.
Justin Betty,
Aye.
Mike Rosen,
Aye, and stay healthy, everyone.
and the first selectman will vote to affirmative to adjourn. Thank you, everybody. We're adjourned.